Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to the first ever edition of the 0 Hour Podcast. My name is Tim Loy. I'll be your host through this journey here. And of course, I'm joined by my co host who will be with us weekly here. We got Jeff Hobbs joining us as well as Torres Finney, Greg Hopkins, Justin Watson. And you may ask, what is this? What is this podcast that you have found? What is this 0 Hour podcast? A little backstory. A lot of us formerly involved with Valor Fights. You may have heard us on the Valor Hour podcast. So now we're moving things over here to YouTube. And as such, we parted ways with Valor and now have started our own thing. Aries Fight Series is the name of it. And this is where we're going to be. This is where we're going to be putting all the fights. If you fight for Aries Fight Series, you find your fights right here on this channel. All of our previews, our predictions, picks panels, recap shows, interviews, all that stuff is going to be covered right here. And I've partnered up with Jeff Hobbs here to start Aries Fight Series. Jeff, tell them a little bit about what they can expect here, both from Aries Fight Series and this channel.
Yeah, man. Just ready to come have some fun, man. Like you said, kind of stepped on out there and decided to do our own thing. Both Tim and myself have been kind of in and about this business since 2008, 2009, and we go back a long way. And it was just, things happened the way they did, and the timing was right for us to just step out there and kind of do things ourselves and see what we can make happen. We've both pretty much dabbled in a lot of areas in this business, and everybody knows Tim has promoted shows for years, between Valor, 3FC, and I pretty much feel like I've done just about everything in this business on this side of it, aside from getting punched in the face and fighting. I'm sure Greg at some point will help me out with that too and punch me in the face. But, we're going to have a good time here, man. We're going to step on out there, loosen the collar up a little bit, and just have some fun on the show, man. Kind of let loose. And more than anything, man, we're going to give you predictions, man. We're going to talk about, odds with Action 24/7. We're going to tell you guys the ins and outs of how we place our bets on the weekends and lose all our money. So take notes, do the opposite of whatever I do on UFC night. Man, I don't know. I'm just ready to have some fun and get to it.
No doubt, man. And just for in case viewers are not familiar with everyone here, I'm going to go through the rest of the panel. Just give a quick intro. Of course, we got Torres Finney with us as well. Torres, also a regular on the Valor Hour, did a lot of commentary on those events, and you can be looking forward to him continue to do commentary on the Aries Fight Series when he's not competing in that cage. He will be competing in that cage in the first ever Aries Fight Series event, which is coming up October the 30th. From Camp Jordan Arena, Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're going to see a big one, man. Torres, as he gets ready to round out his amateur career against the undefeated Colin Robinson from all the way up in Worcester, Mass. A guy that, holds the Valor 185 championship. Torres also undefeated 205 champion. So we're stoked to put the first ever Aries title on this one. And, aside from that, Torres also a broadcasting major there from the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Torres, tell us, what you're looking forward to here with both Aries Fight Series and this channel here with the 0 Hour Podcast. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Torres doesn't bet, but it's always cool to get his perspective on things as a current fighter.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be a part of this podcast, the 0 Hour. A lot of great things that I feel like was going to happen, just like this podcast on itself. I mean, look at this platform that we're currently on. We're growing day by day, and I'm loving it. I'm excited for this Aries Fight Series. A lot of good fights we already got getting planned up, including mine. I'm excited, man. I really am. So these next few months, this next few years, man, it's about to be big. So that's one of the biggest things that we want to do. The goal is to try to take over the entire Southeast, become the biggest promotion here. So, and I'm excited for this podcast, be able to, open up, talk about fighters, talk about, different matchups and a whole lot of other things, as we're going to do today anyway. So, yeah, I'm excited. And, you know, I'm glad it's not my first time doing it because I've done this on my own podcast, TNT podcast. So it's always fun to get on here and chat it up with some guys and about anything. But it's also fun to get over here and chat about fighting. So something that I love. So I'm excited.
Definitely excited to have you on board, Torres. If you haven't already, if you would do us a favor, like this video and share it and subscribe. If you subscribe, hit the notification bell. You will get a notification every time we put something up, so you don't miss anything. It would also really help us grow this thing. We're in the early stages. Obviously, this being our first episode, so we've got some ground to make up from our numbers that we were doing with the Valor Hour podcast, but we're confident we'll get there with your help. So if you would like it, subscribe, and comment too. If you've got anything you want us to cover, if we give a pick that you don't like, or if you got a favorite play to throw in there, please do so. Up next, we got Greg Hopkins, another longtime cohort here, as also working with Aries Fight Series. Beginning to help me on the matchmaking with the amateur side, and also working with a lot of our sponsors, and a professional fighter himself. Greg, how's it going, man? And tell us about what you're excited for in the coming weeks. Also, tell us a little bit about that little special deal we've got for the listeners out there.
All right, just a quick run through real quick. Super excited about Aries Fighting Series, being based here in Tennessee. You couldn't ask for more with the matchmaking we're going to have coming up. Me running grounds here in Chattanooga, you up there in Knoxville, Jeff in Nashville. I mean, it's taken over here, Aries Fighting Series. And this is, like you said, this is just the beginning. This is the first podcast we've had. And it's going to be the first of many. And speaking of the first of many, you're going to have a lot of chances to gamble on our professional fights with Aries Fighting Series. That means you can gamble on my fights. You can gamble on Feeney's fight after he's done going amateur, and you can start putting laying that lead down. I'm telling you right now. So right now, if you go to Action 24/7 right now, you can get a 100% bonus match right now, and you can look at it right there. Right there, you can take $100 and they'll turn it into $200. All right, you could take $200, turn it into $400. I'm telling you guys, and listen, right now, me, Tim, Jeff, Finney, Justin's a judge in Tennessee. We know these fighters in Tennessee. You listen to us right here on this podcast when it comes to these regional matchups. We're going to go over some later in the show, so stay tuned. Go on there, get on Action 24/7. Your first match, make sure you use Aries promo. The promo code bonus Aries. Use that. You're going to get a match bonus 100% up to $400, and you're not going to lose. You can deposit straight in your bank account. Just get with us. You'll learn. You can go up there, click on this QR code right here. It'll take you straight to Action 24/7. Use the Aries code. Let us know. And again, subscribe, follow, like us, love us. You're going to love us. I promise you that.
Rounding out the panel, we've got Justin Watson, longtime judge here in the area, also former competitor himself, getting ready to maybe jump back in there as well. We'll talk about that more in the coming weeks. Justin, also an avid follower of the USC, and keeps up with this stuff probably better than any of us. Justin, how's it going, man? Moving over from the Valor Hour over to the Zero Hour. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, man. I feel like it's a long time coming for us to move over to this video platform, and we've been doing this podcast thing for several years now, and just kind of up in the level here. Like you guys said, we're going to be covering all the regional stuff as well as the national and global MMA stuff as well. So weeks that we have big area shows, we might double up that week and do some global talk one show and Aries another show. So I'm looking forward to the platform, man, being able to reach an audience, having some interaction. It's going to be fun.
No doubt. And of course, we got to say, again, that Aries Fight Series 1 going down October 30th. We've got one coming up just right behind it. We've got a lot going on here in the coming months. November the 5th will be Aries Fight Series 2 from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. This will be the first show for us at the Joe, hopefully one of many. But we're going to, like Jeff said, loosen the collar up a little bit. And it's going to be a party. It's going to be a good time. $1,000 ring card, girl. contest going on Aries 2, $1,000 up for grabs. So ladies, if you're interested in trying to get a chunk of change that night, make sure you hit us up on our social media, and we'll get you the details to that. We'll be announcing a lot of fights for that one coming up soon. And now you can catch Aries 1 on Spectation Sports. It'll be our first event on Spectation Sports, and we're excited for that. And then all of our pro shows will be on Spectation. And then the very next week, you can catch our amateur show at the Joe on combatcast.tv. And that's where you'll find our amateur events. And then we've still got, even though we've kind of parted from Valor, we're still involved with the underground card. We'll be talking about that a lot coming up as well. That's November the 20th in Nashville at the Fairgrounds Arena. And you can get tickets to all these things at FighterTix with an X. FighterTixWithAnX.com, and that's where you can get your tickets to all the things that we do. And with that, we'll get into the meat of this show. And of course, I'm excited to jumpstart this episode with a big pay-per-view, man. It's UFC 266 goes down on this Saturday night. It's going to be a big one, man. This is a stat card from top to bottom. We're going to be using the odds from the aforementioned Action 24/7. This is the only locally owned and operated Tennessee sports book. So it's really kind of cool that it is. So if you live in Tennessee, and Greg will vouch, you can actually go deposit your money at Advanced 24/7. It's like a check cashing 24/7 Advanced 24/7 loans and check cashing. They're all over the state. You can deposit there. You can withdraw your money there. So that kind of gives you that old school bookie feel to a degree. You get to go, and if you want to exchange cash, then that's the way to go. And of course, there's your typical ways to deposit and withdraw as well. We're going to use their odds for this weekend. Again, use Aries as your promo code, and if your first time deposit, you're going to match up to $400. Put 400 in, you get 800 to play along, and let's get into it, guys. We've got one fight fell off tonight. Manon Fiorot was supposed to fight Mayra Buena Silva, and one of them has COVID. I don't know which, but that fight's off. We're going to kind of skim through the prelims a little bit quicker, and we'll get into more in-depth talk once we get to the main card. But the fight that opens up the main card is certainly an interesting one, as it has a bit of local interest. It's Omar Morales taking on JSP, Jonathan Pierce, formerly of the Tri-City area up north of us. Fought on several of my cards as he was coming up through the ranks. Now he's over at Fight Ready in Arizona. And Greg, I'll let you. You've got some input on this one, of course. If you want to give us the rundown here on this first bout here on the undercard, pretty good fight to start off the undercard. I got to say, will probably be a good action scrap.
Yes, actually, I'm highly intrigued in this bout right here. It's a super close matchup. I'll just, I'm not trying to throw any shade towards Jonathan Pierce, but I want everybody to know that, I've been following this guy's career since, from the regional scene up to the UFC, and he did look phenomenal, coming up through. But with that being said, with losses on his record on the regional scene, people like David Lewis shows that he has a lot of holes in his game, and I'm not saying that Omar Morales is a world beater by any means. That's what makes this almost really should be a pick 'em in my opinion. But right here, I just think the striking ability of Omar is going to be able to get through. He has decent takedown defense. Decent. I'm not saying he has good takedown defense. Jonathan Pierce is going to be forcing and pressuring and trying to run after him and the heart and the cardio is where I see Jonathan Pierce, maybe prevailing in this fight. But when you're at this level of the UFC and you've already had, I'm not saying you had this many UFC level type of fights, but you've had fights in the UFC versus somebody like Jonathan Pierce who has had a few fights in the UFC, but he's been starched too, So I can see Omar finishing this fight early, just by maybe cracking Jonathan Pierce. I also could probably see Jonathan Pierce ending this in the later rounds with his cardio and his heart. But my money's going to have to lie on the slot favorite at -150 with Omar Morales right there. So, and I do have another pick I want to go to for the Action 24/7 pick of the week, and I do want to go to that down the line.
All right, is that on the main card or the prelims?
Let me look real quick. I think it is on the main card. Nope. No. It's on the prelims. It is on the prelims.
Okay. Stay tuned for Greg's Action 24/7 lock of the week coming up. Man, I'm torn on this one. I got to say, I think that Morales has been in there a little bit deeper as far as UFC goes, and I think him going the distance with Giga Chikadze is certainly even in a loss that kind of like looks okay afterward. Now that we've seen how good the Giga Chikadze has been, but man, tell you the truth, Jonathan Pierce is going to be really forcing that takedown chain wrestling. His cardio typically checks out. This could be a fight where maybe I see him taking over late and getting that decision. Action 24/7 has Omar Morales -150, Pierce back at +125. Over 2.5 rounds is -170, under +137. I think the over 2.5, no matter which way it goes, regardless of who wins, I think that's your better play because, I can see a world where Pierce is able to get those takedowns and able to kind of just force that pressure on Morales, who sometimes isn't as active as he needs to be. If anything, Pierce does come forward and Pierce does push the pace. So I think Pierce is certainly a live dog here. Not the biggest fan of Jonathan Pierce, but I'm a fan of my money. And if I see a play that I like, then I'm not afraid to go with someone I don't necessarily like. Next bout on the card. I don't have anybody with a play on this one, but Matthew Simmelsberger -476. Martin Sano comes back at +350. Real quickly, Sano, I can't see how he's been signed to the UFC. This guy's 4-2-1 and has 0-2-1 in his last 3. This is, to me, obviously Simmelsberger is a pretty big favorite. I'd say that line will skyrocket before the end of the week.
He's only on the card because he's Nick Diaz, one of Nick Diaz's like buddies, training partners, kind of. Because he hasn't fought since 2016 or 2017. Actually, it's been like 4 years since he's fought. So, that's why he's on the card. And but like I'm saying, I'm no Matt Simmelsberger fan, but and I'm not buying the chalk there any -400. But it could be a good parlay piece. It could not be. But yeah, there's my take on it.
That shows you how much stroke the Diaz brothers have, because you're right. That is why he's on this card. And you've got to imagine that, it was a situation where Nick Diaz is like, yeah, if I'm fighting you got to put my boy on here. And they're like, okay, because there is no way that this guy would be your typical UFC signing, not even having to go through Contender Series, straight on to a big pay-per-view like this. Up next, Torres got to take on this one. Nick Maximoff takes on Carl Roberson. This is Nick. The Action 24/7 has Maximoff -112, Roberson -109, a total of 1.5. Over 1.5 -170, under +135. Torres, what you got on this? This is definitely a striker versus grappler situation.
It is. That would be the matchup if that was the matchup. But we've had some slight news and we had some slight changes. Literally just
hit us with it.
Carl Roberson has been scratched from the card. He is being replaced by Condage. Cody is from Colorado. He's more of a striker. According to like his win-loss, he has a lot of knockouts. I see a lot of knockouts. He got a few in there, but they brought him in, man. He last fought on LFA, got a win there. So he's 6-1. So that'll be. I still think they will have Nick as the favorite. Coming from that Nick Diaz Academy, he's been training with the Nick brothers for a long time as well. Fighting at the weight, he's a big time wrestler. I've seen him a lot. I feel Cody might be a really good striker. If he keep it on the feet, he has a chance. But I feel like Nick is going to take him down. And a lot on the feet. He is a little bit average. So I feel like he's going for a little striking to set up his takedowns and finish the fight on the ground. So give me Nick in that one. I feel like what's the odds again on that one?
I don't know if I didn't even know that fight was yet. They may not be out yet. It's so new. Honestly, I didn't even know up until you just told me that fight had happened. Definitely a better spot for Maximoff than it was. I think that I thought that Roberson would really outclass him on the feet. Obviously, I think Maximoff would have been the better grappler, but Maximoff's striking is not great. I think that Cody Brundage, if I'm not mistaken, was getting ready for a Contender Series fight anyway. I think he has one. I think if I'm not mistaken, he was set to go against Shante Barnes if not this coming one, then maybe one more afterward. So he was at least already, in shape, likely already in Vegas, maybe getting ready for that fight, last minute arrangement. So I would, just because he's short notice, I still would think that he's going to be coming conditioned as one typically would. Moving on, we've got a lightweight bout. Euros Medic from Alaska taking on Jalen Turner. Medic is the slight favorite, -120, with Turner coming back at even money, +100. The total is 1.5, with the over being -180, the under +145. I'll take this one. These are two really big 155s. We saw Euros Medic come up on the Contender Series. Record is littered with cans. Has not beat hardly anyone. However, he is one of these hitters, man. He's a guy that, he's got power. He's big for the weight class. We still don't really know how good he is, I don't think. Honestly, I still don't think he's necessarily proven, because his win on Contender Series was a quick knockout still. He's got an awesome mustache. I'll give him that. But Jalen Turner is maybe the biggest 155 in the division. This guy's he's like a Luis Pena sized guy. He's like 6'2". He's very athletic. He's strong. Both these guys finish fights. Medic, I don't think has ever been past the 7-minute mark of a fight. And so I'm going to go with the underdog here at +100 and go with Jalen Turner. I think he's got more ways to win. I think he's been in there with better competition. That goes without saying. He's been in there with way better competition than Medic. So my play is even money on Jalen Turner. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg. You got something on this one?
Yeah, this is my Action 24/7 lock of the week right here.
Okay, nice.
All right. Medic and Turner. Yeah, right here. Medic and Turner. Fight does not go the distance. -200. Put the trailer, put the house on it. Medic's never seen a decision. Turner's, I think he's seen one decision in his professional career and he lost, but he has 15 fights, so 14 of those all went by knockout or submission. I don't see this one going the distance. So right there, lay the wood on it, -200 before it skyrockets up to 300. Get your value on that. That's the lock of the week right here. I'm going to keep track of that, and we'll follow those throughout this process.
Do you like the under 1.5 at +145?
Yep, I like that too, because Medic is going to come in there. That's somebody I've had my eye on from Alaska. I wanted to fight him. We've talked about this, and that it would be a really great matchup for somebody like myself. But I mean, Turner's just got that length on him, and he's going to have that. He's more of a professional than any of Medic's. Is came up against. He's gonna wait and pick his shots. Medic could starch him too. Could finish him in the first 2-3 minutes. But I just don't think that he's going to have that gas to go with Turner. I don't think this is going to be a sloppy battle. I can see Turner maybe submitting him even. I don't know. I think this is going to this will be done. But I do like the under 1.5. But my money's going to lie with the -200 on not go the distance.
Moving on, we've got the ladies taking the cage. Nobody with a play on this one, but interesting fight all the same. Taylor Santos -417 against Roxanne Modafferi +305. Total of 2.5 rounds. The overs juiced up -263. The under +205. Not a lot of meat on the bone here with Santos -417, but maybe a parlay piece.
Parlay piece, yeah.
Moving on. Next, we've got the big boys. Chris Daukaus takes on Shamil Abdurakhimov. Daukaus -204. Abdurakhimov +165. Total only 1.5 on this one with the over. -152, the under +124. No plays from any of us here. Heavyweights, tread lightly. I do like Daukaus here, but it's still not anything that I have a whole lot of conviction behind. Now we get to the good shit starts to surface from here. Jeff has got some take on this next one here, and there was some danger that this may not happen. I think with visa issues in the lead up, but man, this right here could be a main card fight on many events. Dan Hangman Hooker, Nasrat Haqparast. Hobbs, hit us with it.
Yeah, I don't even know that it's still not in danger as of right now. Hooker's visa is good; it came through. But Nasrat is not yet. It's still just kind of a day-to-day kind of thing at this point. And I know the Contender Series kind of scrum afterwards, Dana said, all he would say was, we're working on it. we're hoping to get this done, and that's all we can do right now is hope. So, it'll be crazy if this thing does not happen. But I saw where Nasrat is like desperately on Twitter. He was trying to reach out to like the German government. Please expedite this. Get this done for me so I can, get on this fight. But if it does happen, man, I think this is going to be a really good matchup. Hooker is on a 2-fight skid right now. 2 losses in a row. And, prior to that, I mean, he was just straight up on fire. But, he ran into Poirier, ran into Chandler, and those are 2 tough guys. So I feel like this is going to be his comeback fight. Is really going to be, tuned into this thing. The only thing that bothers me about this fight is Nasrat actually is dealing, it's not been publicized a lot, with the loss of his mother, I believe. His mother just passed away. And so, he's been assuring everybody on social media that, he's focused and he's, this is what she would have wanted and he's going to follow through with this fight. But I can't imagine, you guys on here that have stepped in the cage, I haven't, where your focus has to be and how heavy that weighs on you when something like that's going on in your life, man. But as far as the Action 24/7 plays, man, Hooker, the odds aren't so far skewed. I think there's still some value there at -149 to make a little bit of money. But I really like the under on this one because I think this thing's not going to see, the distance. So the 2.5, I'm actually going to step out there at +100 and take the under. I think Hooker's going to come out guns a-blazing. And so that's where I'm leaning on this one. I'm going Hooker at -149. Hopefully I'm going to go get on that before it changes any. And I really feel good about the under on this one.
I got to agree with you there because I think that kind of covers your ass both ways. If Hooker's chin is shot, I mean, he's taken some pretty good damage over the last 2. And Hawkprost is a hitter. So it kind of covers your ass both ways there, I think, playing that under at even money. I like that quite a bit. The fight, we'll go to Justin here for this one, is Merab Dvalishvili takes on Marlon Moraes. Dvalishvili, pretty heavy favorite at Action 24/7 -263, with Moraes coming back at +210. Justin, what you got?
Yeah, man, this is gonna be. I think it's gonna be a crazy fight. Marlon Moraes has been around forever. At the top of the World Series of Fighting, came over here and was on a tear. Out of his last 4 fights, he's 1-4 in his last 4 fights. He lost to Sandhagen, barely beat Aldo, the one fight that he did win, and lost a couple more. But Merab is an absolute tank, man. This guy has endless cardio. He's going to be shooting takedown after takedown after takedown. The chain wrestling for Merab is relentless. If somehow Marlon is able to clip him early, then I really it's the only way I see Marlon winning. These are pretty big odds when you think about the names in the sport. Marlon Moraes and Merab Dvalishvili. Merab's a 2.5 to 1 favorite in this fight. Merab's on a 5-fight win streak. His 2 losses in the UFC are questionable. One's a split decision that I think was a pretty tough decision. The other one was a weird stoppage at the end of the fight that he was kind of winning. So could be undefeated in the UFC, but like I said, man, the guy's just relentless. His stand-up is not nearly as polished, I think, as Marlon Moraes, but his pressure is insane. He's going to be right in your face the whole time. He's not going to give Marlon much space to work with, and I think Marlon kind of relies on that a little bit. But the biggest play that I like on this one is Merab by decision. Is five wins. He's on a 5-fight win streak, like I said, all by decision. And you can get Merab by decision right around even money, maybe plus money in some places. But like I said, he's a big favorite in this fight. I think that speaks volumes to the type of athlete he is and how tough of a fight Merab is.
And that will, I will echo that sentiment as well. I think Marab is actually one of my more confident parlay pieces for this week. We see we can't put together something that looks good before the end of the show here, but Marlon Moraes is infamous for starting to fade badly as the fight goes on, and Marab is infamous for slowly increasing as the fight goes on. Gas tank for days, and he's going to have so much pressure. And so I do like that decision. But I wouldn't be completely shocked if we got into the third round and things started to go real haywire for Marlon Moraes with if his gas tank isn't correct. That leaves the main card. Before we get to the main card, though, we're going to take a quick pause for the cause and let you hear from one of our sponsors.
Boom, boom.
All right, and thanks so much to Buddy's Barbecue, Greg, on the ground down there, rounding up sponsors for our cause here with Aries Fight Series. Tell us a little bit about the good folks over at Buddy's Barbecue.
Those guys over at Buddy's Barbecue over there, they're right next to where the venue is going to be at, where I have the Aries Fighting Series, the first one over there at Camp Jordan in Chattanooga. They are going to be the official weigh-ins and the official after party over there. So we're going to have some fun. Guys, be sure to check them out. Another one real quick right here. I'm going to start repping every time we have a show. I'm going to be repping a sponsor. So I need to get me some more shirts from you guys. We need to get some more commercials in. That was a good one right there. Thanks, Buddy's Barbecue. I'll definitely be eating there a few times before I go, because I don't have any weight to cut until at least after November. So thank you, Buddy's Barbecue, and we'll be sure to catch you guys October 29th and the 30th down there in Chattanooga.
Excited for that for sure, and we'll do a little spotlight on sponsors each week here. So lots more to shout out in the coming weeks. Let's jump into this main card on pay-per-view. Definitely a pay-per-view worthy card, solid up and down. I'm usually the first to say when something doesn't look like it's worth it, but I'll say through these COVID times, the UFC has really come through on their pay-per-views. They've really kind of come with good offerings that seem like they're worth it. So we kick off the pay-per-view card with a female contenders action. We've got Jessica Andrade minus 270 at Action 24/7 taking on Cynthia Calvillo, who comes back at plus 210. The total on that is 2.5 rounds, the over minus 145, the under plus 115. And, I guess I'll jump off on this one, guys. This is a fight that I think the winner, it is actually a pretty big fight in that the winner will be eyeballing the co-main event. Of course, Jessica Andrade just had her crack at Shevchenko and didn't really do very well. But there's such a lack of contenders that one has to imagine a couple big wins would put her right back in line. Cynthia Calvillo, one of the few members of the women's top 5 that have not already fought the champ. So I'm sure a win from Calvillo is probably what the UFC would like to give us a new contender, another name to put out there anyway to kind of fall victim most likely to the champ. But in this fight, I've got to say I do like Andrade. I think she's more well-rounded. Minus 270 is a steep price, so this may be another parlay piece. But she's one of the few women out there in the division that have just knockout power. She could actually drop these girls and hurt them. And she's actually a great grappler as well. So she's more well-rounded. Calvillo, obviously a very good grappler herself. I think a brown belt, if I'm not mistaken. And but she definitely is going to want to get that fight to the ground where she can fish for a submission. It's going to be really tough to do that, I think. I think she's going to get lit up trying to enter those exchanges, possibly get knocked out. But my official play would be Andrade by decision. And I think that Calvillo is durable enough to get through the rounds. My official play would be an Andrade in parlays and then over 2.5 rounds, minus 143. Feels like the way to go. And, as one of her top OnlyFans subscribers, I'll go to Justin. What's your take?
Man, this is going to be a fun fight, man. Andrade obviously is a powerhouse in this division. Until she's had a couple of losses. Obviously, she lost to Rose in the rematch, but the way she won the title, picking Rose up, slamming her on her head, She's just a beast, man. And Calvia is a big time wrestler, college wrestler, I believe. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how this one plays out. I think that Calvia is definitely at a disadvantage in the striking department. If she's able to get it to the ground, Shevchenko just pretty much dominated. What's her name on the ground? So Andrade on the ground. So if she can get her there, I think Calvia's probably got a pretty good chance of riding out a decision. But Jessica Andrade is dangerous on the feet the whole time. Man, this is a tough call for me. I think I probably will end up going Andrade here, but it's a tough call, man. Andrade has had some setbacks, and we've seen some vulnerabilities there, but Calvia has also shown some vulnerabilities losing to Chikagian, and so I don't know. We'll see on this one, but I got to lean Andrade.
All right, let's go to Greg.
No real huge lane here. Just as you mentioned, Justin being one of the top subscribers to Andrade's OnlyFans. I gotta say, man, she's mean. She's a dog. I do want to see how Cavillo her wrestling comes in, and we can. I don't know, man, if she's gonna be able to stop that shot from Jessica, because those setups from the punches are just. It's different when you go from wrestling to MMA with you getting punched and kicked. So I think Jessica may be able to get in there and take Cynthia down. I got to side with Justin here and the OnlyFans, Jessica Andrade.
All right, Torres.
At least get her name right.
But yeah, in this one, I'm about to go with Jessica Andrade. You look at her past 4 fights. Well, technically her past 5 fights, and you could probably say, "Oh, she's 2-3 in her past 5." But you got to look at who she fought. And the outcomes. Facts without context are irrelevant. I preach that on my podcast. The thing is, she fought Rose. She beat Rose. Yes, it was the slam, but then she fought Wei Lee. Tough fight. Not many people gonna be beating Wei Lee right now. Then she fought Rose the second time, and some people thought she won. It was a split decision. I felt like Rose won, but it was a split decision. Then she fought Chikagian. Basically destroyed her, and then she fought the champion so far, which is Valentina. And so far what we've seen, ain't nobody beating Valentina. I can go and give you my prediction for the early initial. Ain't nobody beating Valentina right now in this in this division. I just don't see it right now. And Jessica Andrade is gonna face a lot of tough competition. I just don't see much from Cynthia. I do see we saw a little bit of Jessica Andrade's ground game get a little bit exposed, but that's Valentina. I don't think Cynthia's ground game is on the same level as Valentina. So Cynthia might can get to the ground, but I don't think she can keep Jessica on the ground. I feel like Jessica will win. So give me Jessica Andrade in this one. Probably I could see a finish. I think I could see a finish.
Hobbs is going to be clean sweep.
Yeah, I too am going to make a joke about how Greg has helped pay for that house that Andrade has been bragging about. So we have gone around the whole board consensus, but yeah, Andrade is just too strong, too powerful. But let's not downplay Calvea's stand up. She has no power, but she can touch you. She's got some pretty good boxing. She's got that Diaz Stockton kind of swagger going on too, and kind of that same style where she's not going to knock you out, but she's going to keep pointing you. She's going to keep touching you where they start kind of adding up. But as good as her grappling is, I also feel like she gets stymied a lot on the ground too. Not really able to pull things off. She's always dangerous, but I just see Andrade just damn. I don't want to say manhandling. I guess that's not good. Overpowering her. I just see her just overpowering, just brutally. Again, thinking back to that slam finish, I see that just kind of over and over again if given the opportunity. So I'm picking at Andrade, and I really don't. Maybe in a parlay, but I don't like either of the over and under in this situation. So I'll probably stick away. I'll stay away from this one.
Moving on to the next fight on the pay-per-view. Looks like we've got heavyweights on this next one. Action 24/7 has Curtis Blades, the favorite, minus 313 against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, plus 245. Total on this one, only 1.5 rounds, over minus 156, under plus 127. Torres, I know you take a special shine to the big guys. What's your take? Get us started on this one.
Yes, man, big time on this fight, man. I'm excited for this one. Jarenzo Rozenstruik, I mean, his last fight he won. And then Curtis Blades, if anybody, if anybody's seen Curtis Blades' last fight, we all saw what happened. He was going against
Derek Lewis.
Yeah, he was going to get Derek Lewis, and let's be honest. I mean, Curtis Blades was piecing up Lewis on the feet, and he was, that takedown. I tell the kids, you don't take shots from a distance. And Curtis Blades took a shot without setting it up, and Derek Lewis just countered him with an uppercut that put him on another planet. And Derek Lewis only threw 7 strikes that entire. He only landed 7 strikes that entire. That's when I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, that was Curtis Blades' chance to get a shot at the heavyweight title. But I don't think it's out of the equation. If he can fight somebody like Rozenstruik, and Rozenstruik just beat a guy that was big on the UFC factor, a guy that they were trying to build up a little bit out of Sakai. Rozenstruik put him down, man, and his striking looking better. I mean, his last fight before Sakai was against Cyril Gahn, who is now, the interim heavyweight champ. Not a lot of people going to be beating Cyril Gahn, and stand up. So I feel like if Rozenstruik can keep this on the feet, I think he beats Blades, man. But Blades is a heavy weight, man. He can stand and also he can strike. Rozenstruik is so susceptible. He's so high sometimes with his stand up. He's susceptible to get taken down really easily, and I see that with Curtis Blades. So I feel like Curtis Blades, especially only 3 rounds, he can push that pace a little bit on Jarenzo and get him to the ground. I feel like give me Curtis Blades in that one. It might be decision because Curtis Blades actually likes that, but I think it could be. Give me Curtis Blades by decision, probably.
Jeff Hobbs.
I'm going to stay away from win or loser on this one, but I don't have this going to a decision. I'm taking the under on this one because I've always got to, you've got to lean on the fact that Rozenstruik has got the power that he's got, and Blades is I mean, he's got it too. So I'm going under. I'm going to stay away from win or loser on this one. But I'm looking at the under at plus 127.
Justin Watson.
Yeah, man, this is a crazy one. Jairzinho's only losses coming to the 2 champs right now, the proper champ and the interim champ, and Curtis Blades, the former title contender and the champion are his only losses. So high level fight. Obviously, I think, like Torres said, Curtis Blades, if he, with the right game plan, I don't think Rozenstruik is going to be able to stop the takedown, especially the chain wrestling, the big overhand right to a power double that Curtis Blades likes to use. I think he's going to hit it pretty effortlessly. Not real sure what Jairzinho is going to be able to do off of his back, especially underneath Curtis Blades. He's definitely got, super heavy top pressure. But Curtis Blades' weakness his kryptonite has been that power punch, getting knocked out by Francis a couple times and Derek Lewis. And Jairzinho definitely has that power. But I don't, we've seen Jairzinho lose to Francis in quick fashion also, and was outpointed by Cyril Gahn. And I like decision on this one too. Honestly, I like Curtis by decision. But if Jairzinho wins, it's going to be an early knockout probably.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I think that Blades' striking looked pretty good against Derek Lewis last time. I thought until he got caught, he was doing great. So I'm on Blades here. Not a huge Blades fan. Not a real big fan of either one of these guys, to tell you the truth. But I do think Blades' wrestling will prevail. And I actually would probably consider Blades as a potential parlay piece, but probably not your top level one because Rosenstruck is obviously got that fight ending power. Sometimes heavyweights are going to heavyweight. Greg, wrap us up on this one.
Oh, y'all said it, 4 times all over. Rosenstruck, he's got the touch of death. He can put his hands on you, and if he touches and connects, you can go to sleep. However, on the other side, I think that the Curtis Blade is going to be able to, go up under those shots, take him down, wrestle fuck him, and I kind of agree with Justin a little bit on the decision, but then again, with all that weight and all that pressure, Rosenstruck's not going to be able to get up from under that pressure, and I think that some hammer fists will get rained down and maybe take him TKO. However, I'm on Blades on this on the winning side.
All right, moving on to the feature bout. This is what a lot of people are looking forward to most. This is certainly a curiosity. Robbie Lawler, Nick Diaz. This is going to be a 5-round fight, feature bout, non-title. Only the second time that a non-title, non-main event has been a 5-round fight. Robbie Lawler minus 122 at Action 24/7. Nick Diaz coming back pretty much at even money. Total 2.5, over minus 227, juiced up pretty good. Under plus 180. Jeff Hobbs, you're the oldest one of us. You can handle the kickoff duties on the oldest fighters. These guys are almost 80 years old combined.
Yeah, so the first time they fought, I was in my 30s, and don't get it twisted. This is the fight everybody's tuning in to see. I mean, Shevchenko's going to. We'll talk about that in a minute, but she's going to actually just murk Lauren Murphy. And there's not a lot of personality in the main event. I think it'll be a good quality fight, but everybody is tuning in to watch Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz, the return of Nick Diaz. So to me, this is the main event. Might as well be 5 rounds. But I definitely I like the over in this. I like Lawler minus 122. I just think Nick's been out the game too long, in my opinion. There's a point where the game passes you by. And, we've seen it happen to so many others, but we see it happen to them, while they're fighting. So you've kind of gradually seen it happen. Nick's been away for so long, I think it's just going to slap you right in the face, no pun intended. No Stockton slap you in the face when he gets in the cage, that the sport may have just kind of passed him by. So I don't think it's going to be the classic, Nick Diaz fight and, the great fight that the first one was. But I'm leaning towards Lawler, and this is a 5-rounder, you said?
It is.
Yeah, over 2.5 though. I'm going Lawler, but over 2.5.
All right, we'll go next to we'll go to Torres.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited for this fight right here. Jeff hit it on the money, man. I'm really tuning into this card mainly for this fight. There's some other fights on there that I would like to see, but I don't know if that would be, like Ortega and Volkanovski. I mean, it's a good main event, but it's not eye-popping, as they say. But Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler, man, a rematch from 2004, man. This is a big-time fight, and Nick Diaz hasn't fought since 2015. So that was, 6 years ago? Man, this is tough for me. It makes you wonder because the fight went from 170 to 185. And this was because of the Nick Diaz side, not necessarily the Robbie Lawler side. So you wonder what happened. There's been always so rumors that Nick Diaz dropped in sparring and training. He's a little bit hurt. I saw a video earlier of him walking into the UFC Performance Center. He's walking in, look like limping a little bit. So he doesn't look the best already. But we know Nick Diaz is one thing he's doing. When it's time to fight, he's coming in. He's coming in hard. But he's going to get some Robbie Lawler that is much more experienced, champion Robbie Lawler. It's funny that when you see those two guys that fought in 2004, most people probably would have put their money on Nick Diaz. He would have became the world champion out of the two of them. But Robbie Lawler was the one to become the world champion. Robbie Lawler don't had a lot of wars as well. And I'm also saying, Robbie Lawler, have fared too well in his last few fights. I mean, he's on a 4-fight losing streak. Rafael Dos Santos, no slouch. It was a decision, though. Ben Askren, we all know how that went, controversial. Kobe Covington, I mean, Kobe just put the pressure on him, put the pace on him. I mean, come on. And then he lost to Neil Magny. But both of those last 2 fights was a decision. And Nick Diaz is a guy that's going to come out swinging hard. And I think Robbie is also going to go right back at him. But Robbie is much more experienced, so he's not going to let that trash talk play into his head, I don't believe. I think he's going to be excited. We could be seeing a very similar fight. Not saying it's going to be on the same level. We could be seeing a little similar fight to McDonald and him a little bit. McDonald and Lawler a little bit. But it could be bloody. But I feel like Lawler he get the win, man. I feel like Lawler gets the win in this one. And do not be surprised. Lawler might put him to sleep. I'm just saying. I know you ain't seen it. But I'm just saying, I'm a lot of people doubting Robbie Lawler, man. So I'm going with Robbie Lawler in this one.
That's two for Robbie Lawler. We'll go on to Justin. What's your take here?
Yeah, man, you can bet your bottom dollar. I was watching that fight in 2004, and it was a one then because Robbie was kind of like the guy that was coming up through the ranks, and he was supposed to be the next big thing. And I feel like Nick was kind of brought in as a stepping stone, kind of, and got the finish. And their careers took 2 different paths. Obviously, both left the UFC to later return, and Nick, was more successful earlier on, I guess you could say, fighting for the title and competing high level. But Nick hasn't won a fight since 2010. So that's the biggest stat that jumps out to me is that one. Obviously, he hasn't fought in 6 years, but another big factor is that taking that time off and allowing your brain to recover from those shots, it can't be a bad thing either. Robbie has stayed active. He's fought 7 times, I think, since Nick's last fight. And losing the majority of those. Robbie's. I don't know. I just feel like Robbie's definitely weathered. I think Nick is too, but. After the time off, Nick may be a little bit refreshed coming in. I feel like the weight thing was probably more, Nick does what Nick does, and it's not going to be a Nick Diaz fight week without a little bit of drama. So, I think ultimately he's sitting back thinking, fuck this weight cut. I would rather, we both walk around at 85. Let's just do it at 85. And Robbie Lawler's not going to say no to that. So that's what we're getting. And, man, honestly, I think this probably will end up being the most boring fight of the night because there's so much expectation on it. And, Nick has been out for so long. When Nick fought Anderson, it was a fun fight, but it was very there wasn't a lot of action in it. If you remember, there was a lot of posturing and stuff throughout the whole fight. And that was his last one. If it's a finish, man, I see Robbie getting a big finish, but I got to take Nick Diaz, baby. Nick Diaz by decision.
Nick Diaz, the play for Justin Watson. I'll jump in here next, and I'm with you. I'm with you, Justin. I actually, there's obviously a lot of unknowns going into this, so I would still say tread lightly. Obviously, I will have this included in any parlays. I still will play it because it's the fight that everybody's tuning in to see. But for me, with not a whole lot of reassuredness by any means, because we just don't know what Nick Diaz is going to look like after this long off. But we do know what Robbie Lawler's looked like as of late, and it hasn't been great. He's 0-4 in his last 4, and more than anything, you just don't see that ferociousness anymore. That he doesn't really, he seems like he reacts more. He's like waiting for the other guy to do something, a lot more patient, I guess you could say. But what I am hopeful of at the very least is that Nick Diaz is going to come forward. He is going to bring pressure. He's going to have volume. And, if Robbie is if Robbie is using the same pace and activity that he has in his last few fights, then I think that Nick Diaz is going to overwhelm him with volume and win a decision. So that ties it up at 2-2 here. We'll go to Greg Hobbs to break this tie.
After listening to everybody talk, everybody's got good points. Everybody's got, everybody's analysis of this fight is all the same and everything. But everybody's leaving out one thing, that USADA's not tested for marijuana anymore, right? So THC is on the table. And Diaz has been able to recoup every night he's training, even if he is getting knocked out. in practice. He's still getting to smoke his ganja, and he said once before that if he could eat that shit for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he'd be unstoppable. And with that being said, if this fight goes to the ground, everybody's left that out. I mean, Diaz, he's legit on the ground. I mean, Lawler's I just see, there's leaps and bounds, and we're talking about how long he's been away from the game. I mean, it ain't like he just been doing anything. I mean, this guy, it's his life. This is Diaz's life. Robbie Lawler has been active. Man, I want to be that asshole and just sits there and tells you that this fight's going to end via disqualification and be a draw, and that you can put your money on the plus 500 just to piss all four of y'all off. I don't know. Right here. I do not think that Robbie Lawler should be anywhere in shape or form at minus 260, a favorite over. What is
he's
he?
not. He's more or less a pick 'em. He's minus 120. Diaz is even money.
Well, he opened up at minus 260 via Tapology.
So everybody, so they're betting the shit out of Nick Diaz.
Yeah. Now if
which is understandable, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. And if Robbie Lawler went from a minus 260 favorite, I'm a degenerate and I like to watch those line changes. And if he's moving from a minus 260 to a pick 'em right now, my money's going to go on Lawler, and that's who it's going with because that line change is crazy. I don't care. Diaz might do his triathlons or whatever the hell he does all the time, but like I'm saying, THC is still on the table. Regardless of not if you think it's a performance enhancer, if you're smoking every day, it's gonna bite you in the ass in the cage in those later rounds. And you chose a 5-round fight with Robbie Lawler, and regardless of how bad Robbie Lawler's been in these past few fights and losing to Tyron Woodley in the past, he just lost to Jake Paul. I'll throw that in there too. And then so if I don't know, MMA math don't work out like that, I think Robbie Lawler would kill Jake Paul. But I gotta go with Robbie Lawler just on that line movement right there. I mean, combined their last 10 fights, they're 3-6-1. It's not like you said, Justin. It's not really that exciting. Lawler's 1-5 in his last 6. Diaz is 3-2-1, really 3-3 because I thought he really lost to Anderson Silva.
He did.
He did.
But they moved it. But the THC, they moved it to a no contest.
Well, Anderson fell for steroids.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, I thought he lost. I mean,
you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah. So
leave Anderson alone.
I'll go with Lawler. I'm gonna go with Lawler and that'll break the tie. Even though I do love some Diaz, man, I'm excited. I probably won't have any money on it. If I do put a little bit on Lawler.
I got something to ask. I'll say so.
Yes.
So let's say Nick Diaz has a good performance. Where does this lead to anything? Does he get a chance at the title? Do he start becoming the number 1 contender? UFC start promoting it? They already still trying to promote Nick Diaz after him getting beat up for 4.5 rounds and he lands one shot. Now he's still as promotable as ever. So what happens with Nick Diaz if he looks really good against Robbie?
Does he deserve to go right into the mix of the title? No. But will he likely? Probably. Because, I mean, does a win over an 0-4 in his last 4, Robbie Lawler, really scream that you're ready to jump into the mix? I don't think so. But they like being in the Diaz business because that's good business, and that's what the fans want to see. I don't think he just goes right into a title fight, but I do see him getting a top 5 contender fight after this, and by beating them, jumping into their spot if he can.
Yeah,
a big factor in that.
Go ahead. A
big factor in that, I think, is that we've heard Kamaru and his manager come out and say that they want Nick Diaz. So Kamaru needs somebody with star power like that in order to build him. Obviously, Kamaru's head and shoulders above the rest of the competition at 170 pounds right now. And with Nick Diaz, if Nick Diaz goes out there and gets a finish, and Kamaru Usman wants that fight, all it's going to do is build Kamaru's resume. Obviously, Kamaru's, that's not a fight. Kamaru Usman and Nick Diaz is not competition, but it will raise Kamaru's stock because, it'll be by far the highest spelling pay-per-view he's ever been on. And it'll gain him a ton of fans and a ton of haters alike, but ultimately that's only good for Kamaru because as one of the more dominant champions right now, he is one of the less popular champions as well. And it's just because he hasn't had, Colby is a polarizing figure, I guess, but he's not Nick Diaz. You know what I mean? Nick Diaz is a household name, and and it's an easy fight for Kamaru. I feel like why would you not ask for that fight if you're Kamaru?
I feel like Usman stardom is starting to rise up. I actually could make
It
a
is.
slight case that it could be almost bigger than Israel's a little bit. You know, because you look at that fight with him and Jorge Masvidal. Even though the first one didn't do too well, but the second one, you know, with the first fight they had was being in front of fans. And then Usman knocked him out of nobody has ever knocked out Jorge Masvidal. I mean, I think it's growing a little bit. And plus, the last two Israel fights has been, you know, a little sleepers. You know, well, two out of his last three. You know, obviously Yoel Romero and Marvin Vettori. But, you know, just, I don't know.
I don't know, guys. There hasn't been, if you really think about though, pushing a big fight. This fight hasn't been pushed hard by the UFC, and I think you talk about a title fight, you know, in the future. I think a little bit of the UFC is they don't trust them. They don't trust them to stick around. So I don't think they're going to jump right into anything because I think there's just a little bit of mistrust there that it's not going to be like George St. Pierre where we haven't seen you in years. You come in, you pop your face in and get your fight, and then you walk away in the sunset again, and we don't see you for another 3 years because you really don't give a shit. You know, you just come to your thing and then you're gone. So I think there'll be a little bit of feeling out before they start really putting a machine behind them.
Take the draw.
They really didn't do it this time.
All right, let's go to the co-main event, guys. Not a lot of meat on the bone here, that's for sure. Valentina Shevchenko looks to defend, I believe it'll be the 6th time she would have defended her flyweight championship, which will tie Ronda Rousey for the most title defenses at Action 24/7, where you can get a 100% match deposit on your first deposit up to $400 using code Aries. They have Valentina Shevchenko minus 1429. Lauren Murphy coming back plus 790. Wow. That is, you know, there's not any way to make any money here. I don't even know if I throw Shevchenko on a parlay piece because she's not going to really help it so much. I think the only way you can really go here is trying to figure out the total. It's 2.5 rounds, set for 5 rounds. 2.5 is the total, over minus 120, under even money there. I would probably I don't know, man. I'm going to let Justin kick us off here on this one while I ponder on it, but I don't see any way that the side really comes into play here unless you just, for some reason, know something I don't. Lauren Murphy is a winner at nearly 8-1.
Yeah, no, unless you just got a fat ass bankroll and you can just throw a ton of money down to win a little bit. You know. There's no way to bet aside on this. Lauren Murphy's, I don't think, stands a chance. I think right now I'm leaning towards the under. You know, Lauren Murphy's 38 years old. I think that's one major factor in this. Valentina's got, you know, 60-something kickboxing matches. She lost 2 of them. She's 21-3 in MMA. 2 of those losses were to Amanda Nunes. One of them, at least one, she, you know, it's debatable that she won the fight. It's obviously heads and shoulders over the competition. I like Valentina I like a nice head kick knockout maybe in the 2nd round on that one.
Greg.
Early in the 2nd round or late in the 2nd? Yeah. It don't matter because you got to do 2 and the 2 would be 2.5. It's got to go in the 3rd. So
he's saying under. He's saying under. Then
he's saying under. That's what he's saying. I mean, you got Valentina's up to minus 1,600. I jumped on her when she was minus 1,200 and parlayed her with Santos and that Medic and Turner not to go the distance, and I got that back at minus 101. Valentina was my number 1 parlay piece. I mean, my biggest fade of the week is Murphy. Yeah, I just not messing with it. So, parlay piece, if that's easy enough said with Valentina. But like you said, she's minus the 1,600. You can't get no money off of her. And like you said, there's no meat on the bone on this one. So if you want to jump on Valentina, you got to maybe put her in a parlay piece with some Stinger or something. I mean, who else can you throw? Matt, come on, where am I at here? Simmelsberger. Or you could take the Dawkins. Who was it that said that Dawkins might go the distance? Dawkins and Shimon. Was it Justin that said it might go the distance?
I don't think any of us said anything about it at all.
Y'all, you said Curtis Blades probably would go the difference. You said Curtis Blades would probably go the distance. My bad. But I think that Dawkins and Shamil fight would probably be in pretty quick too, because I mean Shamil's 40 years old and Dawkins they're trying to build him right now. I don't know. I just say that screams not to go the distance too. But yeah, Valentina parlay piece for that fight.
All right, we'll go to Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel comfortable betting that Shevchenko could beat Lauren Murphy and Cynthia Calvillo in the same night. If they've, I mean, seriously, yeah, Calvillo to start the main card and then Lauren Murphy to end it. I really, honestly, would feel comfortable still placing that bet. Man, at just even money, I'm gonna drop a little bit on the under. Drop 50, make 50. I think it'll be over before 2.5 rounds.
Torres.
I mean, do anybody see any chance Murphy have? Do like anybody? Like, I mean, I'm looking at Murphy now. I mean, she's won her last 5 fights.
Good for her.
Yeah.
It's done.
I mean, I just really don't know. I mean, I'm happy to see Amanda Nunes and Valentina. I mean, if this is what is all left, then my goodness, let's do it. There's nothing else left for Valentina, in my opinion. She trains with Rose anyway. I don't see Rose going up to 25. She looks, Rose a little bit too small. I don't really see nobody beating Valentina, man. Yeah, second round knockout. I'll say slightly over in the second round. Probably around the minute 50 mark, 2-minute mark, somewhere around there. That's it.
It's I'll wrap this one up. It is a tough one on the total for me, because I think Shevchenko is certainly capable of putting her away underneath that time. But I guess if anything, Murphy's best quality would be that she's at least fairly tough and durable. So I can see a world where she gets this thing to the over. This is probably just a straight pass for me. This would be time to step outside for a few moments before the main event for myself and probably Greg and Justin. So we'll go on to our main event here. This is our third 5-rounder of the night, 145-pound featherweight championship on the line. Alexander Volkanovski takes on T-City Brian Ortega. This is tough 29 coaches going at it. And they've got Volkanovski pegged at -180. Pretty decent favorite here against Ortega, coming back at +145. The total all the way up at 4.5. So over 4.5, -127, under 4.5, pretty much even money. Greg, this is our main event, man. So kick us off.
I mean, as far as this fight goes, I'm siding with the favorites just about all the way down this card. And it's not going to change here. I'm just going to give you my pick. It's not a fade on Ortega, man. Ortega's a finisher. He's a beast, but he lost to Holloway, right? Holloway. He got pieced up in that fight right there, and it just showed some of the holes. And you've seen the holes in his game, and you've seen how Volkanovski was able to stand toe to toe with Holloway and just kind of tit for tat. And I mean, it was a close fight, but I just and I've been watching a little bit of the animosity towards Volkanovski and Ortega, and I feel like it's so forced and it's so theatrical and it's just bullshit. Like, it's hard. It looks like it's hard to really piss Ortega off. If anybody else has another take on this, please just let me know. But after watching all this, it just feels like it's so forced, and it's like they're trying to make it something it wasn't. I think we got spoiled on this card. I think we really got spoiled. I think all these fights, like any one of them at any time, could have been something, a main event. Not all of them, but on the main card, any of them could have been a main event on any other slot ever, this year, throughout the duration. But I'm bored with the Ultimate Fighter a little bit at this point in time with the coaches. I'm ready for this one to kind of be over. I'm excited to see it, and I really do want to see Ortega. My heart's with Ortega, but my money is on Volkanovski.
All right. So one for Volkanovski to lead us off. We'll go to Jeff Hobbs.
Well, I like the under, regardless. I don't know. I'm torn. I don't even look at this fight as an Ultimate Fighter fight because I don't watch the show anymore. To me, it's a good fight on the card. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I mean, I think Ortega. There is a world where Ortega gets this to the ground, and we always use the term "slick on the ground." We overuse it, but Ortega is definitely slick on the ground, and I see a world where he could pull out a submission win here if he can get it to the ground. Um, I like the under. I'm not going to put this main event in any parlay, and especially the very last damn fight of the night. Fuck up my parlay. But I think I will do some side action and just drop something on Ortega and just see if I can, squeeze out a little get back at this point. Because I imagine based on my history, I'll be down and chasing money at this point. So I'll probably drop a little bit on Ortega. Volkanovski, like you said, the fights with Holloway show that he's on another level. But I think Ortega does have something up his sleeve, and I think if he can get it to the ground, he's still a long a fighter, and I think there's a world where he could pull out a submission here.
All right, so there's 1-1 there, going to Torres.
Yes, I'm really excited for this main event. But this is one of those type of fights, that could have been on with another card, could have had another championship fight above it, but other people doing different things. I think Alexander Volkanovski, he's a really good fighter. I mean, he hasn't lost since his fourth fight. That was in 2013. He's been a lot of tough guys. I mean, Jose Aldo, Chad Mendez, Holloway twice, even though one was controversial. I mean, he gets by Ortega. I mean, a lot of people talking about Max Holloway already is the third guy. I mean, they might get the third fight. So I look at Brian Ortega. I mean, with his only loss coming to Holloway, but I don't see Volkanovski being that type of striker, in my opinion. The same way Holloway was piecing him up. Yes, Volkanovski was able to stand toe to toe with Holloway, but Volkanovski isn't as critical, if you're trying to get what I'm saying. Volkanovski depends a little bit more on a little bit power, sometimes like different combinations. So I feel like Volkanovski can try to put Brian Ortega away, but it's hard to put Brian Ortega away, man. And if he can't do that, I feel like Ortega can at least get it to the ground, and you can see some, like you say, how I said, a slick submission. So I'm going to go with Brian Ortega, third round submission.
2 for T City here, as we'll go to Justin Watson.
And this is a tough one for me. This is if Volkanovski wins, he's on a 20-fight win streak. He's on a 19-fight win streak right now. The 2 wins against Max Holloway were very close. I definitely thought Max won the second fight, but it's definitely up for debate. The Ortega that we saw last against Korean Zombie was a completely different Ortega. He stayed on the feet and gave Korean Zombie every little bit that he could handle, and the Zombies, that's kind of the Zombies game is taking and giving, and Ortega looks great. I think that I think Volkanovski's obviously, he's been working with Craig Jones a lot, so his submission defense is going to be, on point. But a big advantage that he has, a big difference that he has over like a Max Holloway is his versatility and ability to mix it up between the striking and the grappling, and that could be dangerous with Ortega, but. If he's able to get on top of Ortega, drop some big elbows, it's hard to think about throwing triangles up when you're getting elbowed in the nose. So this is a real tough one. I think I'm leaning Volkanovski, but on the night I may end up throwing some chalk on Ortega just because, he definitely has knockout power. He's got it, man. If you guys remember, he threw this nasty spinning elbow against the Zombie that was just like the most perfectly timed, beautiful spinning elbow you've ever seen. And so I think his striking's come a long way. He's changed camps a little bit. He's training with Dillashaw and Juan Archuleta and those guys down there some. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think right now I'd have to say that my gut tells me that Volkanovski's going to be able to win the decision. But I don't know. I may end up taking Ortega inside the distance, so I can really pick up some cheddar on that one. Definitely see that as a possibility.
I'll wrap us up here on this one, guys. And it feels like we're all kind of on the same page. It's like in our heads, we probably know that Volkanovski's probably going to win this fight, but it feels pretty nice to get that plus money back on Ortega. Ortega's the more fun play. I think if Ortega wins, we're going to have a really good, exciting fight. I think if Volkanovski wins, it could be a 5-round kind of rangy kickboxing match. Ortega is that dog, man. Like he keeps getting better as the fight goes on, and he's never out of it. You know, he could be down going into those championship rounds 4 and 5 and still turn it on. So I'm probably going to do the same thing everybody else is going to do. Do not follow these plays with any sort of crazy money, guys, because more or less I'm telling you, I'm going to bet T-City. I want Ortega plus the 145, but he's probably not going to win. So it's what I want to happen, though. But that'll do it for the predictions here. I've got a little parlay I've been working on as we've gone with the ones that I feel the best about, and I've got a 3-way parlay here with Merab Dvalishvili, Jessica Andrade, and Matthew Simmelsberger as the main pieces of that 3-man parlay. But at the same time, that comes back at plus 125, and those are all 3 favorites that I feel like would do well. If you tack Greg Hopkins' play of the week on, and that is that the Jalen Turner and Euros Medic fight does not go the distance, that bumps it all the way up to plus 240, which is pretty nice little parlay. So that's something you may want to toss out there. Greg, you got anything to add before we wrap up and we head to our final little closing segment?
I just maybe add Santos and Valentina to maybe add a little bit of juice to that right there. I don't know what that would take it to, but you might be
Santos brings it to plus 330, but Valentina only chips it up to plus 340. And so honestly, I'd probably just keep it at a 5-way and just leave Valentina off in case she stubs her toe walking to the cage.
All right, fair enough. Throw Santos on there, then you got yourself some degenerate moves right there. As far as the rest of the card goes, no, man. I've touched on the Valentina, Santos, Medic, and Turner under. It comes back at minus 101. Again, Lawler. I'm scared about that one, but if you want to make a real dicey one, you could take Lawler, Hooker, and Andrade. Sorry, Justin. Making sure I got it right that time. All right. Anyways, yeah, you can throw that one together. I don't know what that gives you. Minus 270, minus 175, and then minus 110 on Lawler. Right there, that should give you back plus 300 or more, maybe even plus 500 actually with it together. You can throw you a $20 bet on there, win you $100, turn that 400 into 800 with that Aries promo code, and then lock down that Medic Turner bet and carry it on to those Attitude MMAs that Tim's about to let you know about.
Yeah, and we'll get ready to wrap up this show. Thanks, everybody, once again for sticking with us here on to our final little stretch. And this weekend, of course, Tennessee MMA action you can catch on Spectation Sports and also bet on it at Action 24/7 Sportsbook. They have not released the odds yet, so we're kind of giving a little pre-odds analysis very briefly. You can expect more of this as we go forward, and we have more guys in our region. These guys are in Tennessee, but they're on the opposite side of the state. Like they may as well be in Michigan, honestly, Memphis to East Tennessee. But I am familiar with some of these guys. And that's the one thing about the odds on these local fights is they won't drop until like a day before. So you have to be on the ball and be ready to bet like within 24 hours of the event typically. So we'll watch for the odds to come out at Action 24/7. But Attitude MMA number 22 goes down. Again, you can watch it on Spectation Sports where you can catch our October 30th show as well. Main event for them is for the 155-pound lightweight championship for Attitude MMA. It's AJ Cunningham 7-2 taking on Jonathan Jackson 4-2. I don't know what the line is going to be on this fight, but AJ Cunningham should be a heavy favorite. If you see AJ Cunningham coming back at anything better than minus 300, minus 400, then do it. This is Bryce Mitchell's cousin, handled by first round management. He's going to have things set up in his direction here. Jonathan Jackson is tough, but with this fight being at 155, Jackson has campaigned a lot of his career at 145. I think he's going to be outsized. I don't think AJ Cunningham is here to lose. I think he's a guy that is like you'll probably see a contender series, something along those lines soon enough. I expect him to be the favorite here, but if he's anything better than minus 300 or 400, then that's great value. And I would definitely hammer that. Co-main event, Seth Sergo, a guy that we're familiar with. He's actually fought for us one time in Nashville. He's taking on Trey Manley. Trey Manley, 3-1, another first-round management guy here in the co-main event. A little untested. If you look at Trey Manley's record, it's he's got some knockouts, but it's over guys that don't really have very good records or no wins. Your Nathan Mitchells, your Sam McAlpins, those type guys. So this is definitely a step up for Trey Manley here. Seth Sergo, very good wrestler, collegiate level wrestler, if I'm not mistaken. Very long and rangy. Coming off a knockout loss though, and Manley is a knockout artist. I'd watch and see what these odds are. I assume Manley with a 3-1 record is going to be a pretty good favorite here. I don't know that I'm sold just yet that he deserves to be. So if Sergo is even money or better, I expect you're going to get him at plus odds. But if you get him at plus odds, I think there's value there on Seth Sergo. He's a really solid wrestler. And I think he maybe can negate the striking of Manley. Rounding out the 3 pro fights on this card Saturday night, Danny Barlow takes on Jesse Roberson at a catch weight of 180. These guys are both pro debuts, but that's where the similarities stop. I don't know exactly what the line will be. Once again, I assume Barlow is going to be the favorite, but it doesn't really matter how high a favorite they have him because he will win this fight. He's out of the law school out there in Memphis, Brian the Law Hall's team, and that's he's the local favorite, man. He's the guy that is 5-1, 6-1 as an amateur, taking on Jesse Roberson, who hasn't competed in several years. When he did compete, he competed at 170. He was 2-3 as an amateur. So this is a fight that is a showcase fight for Danny Barlow. If you can get, anything, honestly, good value would be anything at minus 800 or below. But if you can see any of these come around and it's real close line or minus 300 or something like that, you unload on Danny Barlow, unload on AJ Cunningham. I'm not telling you to unload on Seth Sergo, but maybe play a little small if you get Seth Sergo as underdog odds. I'll go. Is anybody got anything to add here? I don't know that everybody is as tuned into this regional MMA shit like I am, but I've got to be. Anybody want to jump in? If not, we'll wrap this bitch up.
I remember Seth Sergo. I believe he fought at the fairgrounds. Was it?
He did.
The David Robbins, Charlie Alexander main event that time in October, and I remember watching Seth Sergo. I now with that, and you said Trey Manley is a knockout artist. If they give us an under and over on that fight, I know that Sergio, he is actually somewhat durable, and he was a wrestler, and how I am with the wrestlers, and I know he's built, man. He's built. I'm telling you, and Manley, if he's a knockout artist, I may even wound up. I think that like you said, Sergio could actually just blanket him, could take him down, hold him down, maybe even squeeze out some kind of TKO or a referee stoppage. I'm gonna keep my eye on that one. I'd like to see them weigh in. But sprinkle a little bit maybe on that underdog right there. Sergio will be coming in as the underdog, if not a pick 'em. But the other two, Cunningham and Barlow. Barlow, if you can get like Tim said, under 800, and you got the cheddar to lay on it, it's given. It's a given. Go ahead and grab it. If it comes in at minus 400, I'm slapping a stack on it and getting me 250 back.
Yeah, that's one of those fights where it doesn't really matter how high the odds are almost. I guess it does, but Barlow's certainly getting the showcase here. He's getting the rub. You look at Jesse Roberson. He hasn't competed in over 3 years. He hasn't won in 4 years, and even his wins over guys that are 0-3, 0-0 amateurs has losses to 0-3, 0-1 amateurs. And then, Barlow, records aren't everything, I get it, but yeah, Barlow he's been finishing guys and finishing a tougher level of competition, and he's from the local gym out there. Anybody got anything else to add? That'll do it. Okay. Well, that'll do it for our first episode, guys. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. We're going to do a recap of this UFC. We'll get an interview going for you guys, something for the October 30th show, and then we'll look ahead at whatever's coming up next week, I guess. Until then, make sure you, once again, if you would if you would subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also if you would share this thing and comment, that would just help us get those numbers up. There's algorithms in play that I'm not real familiar with, but I know if you do all that stuff, it helps us a lot. And the quicker we can grow this channel, the better. You can follow us on our social media at Aries Fights on Facebook, at Aries Fight Series on Instagram, and that's where you keep up with everything going on with the shows coming up. Thanks again to our sponsor, Action 24/7. Use this promo code Aries and get a 100% match on your initial deposit up to $400. That's Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sportsbook. We appreciate them. Heck, I guess until next time, we'll see you guys next week on the 0 Hour. Thanks for hanging out.
Boom, boom.